Greetings everyone. This is my presentation on alternative sources of energy. Alternative in this sense refers to non-conventional, the ones which are not currently in use or are in use but not very common. This presentation is made by Sagnik Mandal, a student of class 10th A, roll number 17 of Carmel Convent School, Ratanpur, and this is submitted to Sandesha ma'am. So, first we have to talk about what is a good fuel. A good fuel has the following characteristics: high work to mass or volume ratio. The more the amount of energy can be produced from less fuel. Thus, it has high efficiency. Easy to store and transport. The fuel should be easy to store and transport so that they can reach the consumers easily. Economically feasible. Its extraction and production should not be very costly. Thus, more energy can be produced per rupee spent. Easily accessible. It should not be very difficult to reach. For example, a lot of heat energy is present in the Earth's core, but we cannot reach it. Thus, it should be easy to reach. Starting with our first non-conventional source of energy, nuclear energy. This is the energy produced from nuclear fusion or fission. So first, what is fission? Fission refers to the bombardment of a nucleus of a heavy atom with neutrons. Thus, it splits into two lighter nuclei. In this process, about 10 million more times energy is produced in comparison with combustion of carbon per atom. As we can see, this is highly efficient. And there is another process called fusion. It is safer than fission. In this process, two lighter nuclei are joined together, usually with the form of heat, to form a heavier nucleus. In this process, also a tremendous amount of energy is produced. The process takes place commonly in sun and the other stars. But it also has some downsides. High cost of installation of nuclear power plant. Because the nuclear energy is on an atomic scale, it has to be very precise, or else there could be huge explosions, as this is the same technology that was used to make nuclear bombs. High risk of environmental contamination. A major hazard is the storage and disposal of used or spent nuclear fuels. Also, there is risk of accidental leakage or radiation. Limited availability of uranium. As we know, uranium is not present in the Earth's core in large amounts. It's present unevenly, and thus it's not suitable for countries with lower economies to obtain uranium, as it is very costly. The next non-conventional source of energy we are going to talk about is solar energy. As we know, the sun produces a large amount of heat and light. This depends on energy obtained from these radiations. One method of obtaining this is by reflecting or focusing it on a point so as to heat objects. We know that this principle is used in solar cookers. There is another method which is new and more common. In this method, solar cells, specialized cells which convert solar energy into electrical energy. This can be stored in batteries or used for other purposes. It has some advantages. One, it has low maintenance required. One can just clean it and it would keep working. Works well without the need of focusing devices. Unlike solar cookers, which usually need some kind of lens, these do not need any kind of lens or focusing device. It can absorb all the radiation that comes. Can be easily set up in remote areas. All one needs is a solar panel and a bunch of wires and connect them with anything they want. In this way, energy can be easily obtained from the solar cell. It is widely used in traffic signals, calculators, toys, street lights. It is also used in radio, TV relay stations, wireless transmission systems in remote areas where one cannot set up electric lines. It is also used in the scientific industry, in artificial satellites and space probes. As you can see on the screen, a picture of Mangalyaan with its solar panel is shown. But it also has some disadvantages. Number one, high cost, as it needs special grade silicon, which is very expensive. Also, if one needs to interconnect the cells, they need to use silver, which as we know is very costly. Also, it has low efficiency compared to other sources of energy. This might not be useful for powering a hole in small areas. And the last one we are going to talk about is the sea. There are various methods to obtain energy from the sea, and one of them is tidal energy. As we know, the gravitational pull of the moon on the earth causes tides, due to which the level of the water in the sea rises and falls. This difference in the water level can be used to run turbines by constructing a narrow opening to the sea. There is also ocean thermal energy, which is based on the difference between the water present at surface and at depths up to 2 km. Here, warm surface water is used to boil a volatile liquid like ammonia, which is used to run a turbine. After that, the cold water from the depth of the ocean is pumped up to again condense it into vapors. This process keeps on going and energy is produced. Last is the wave energy. As anyone who has gone to the beach might have experienced the waves, as we can see that the waves have high kinetic energy. This can be used to rotate turbines, which would result in production of energy. Just as it has infinite potential, but the problem is there are not enough ways to extract it, and also it is very costly to set up these stations. Thus, the sea is not used widely. Thanks for listening. It was Sagnik Mandal, and it's